covering South Bend, Elkhart, and all of Michiana. This is ABC 57 News at 6.
Two men battling for the nation's top job will soon learn their fate. New this morning, it's Election Day. Straight ahead, everything you need to know before heading to the polls. And some South Bend warehouse workers say their employer is mixing politics with paychecks. Details on what they're calling inappropriate political pushing. Plus, it's a multi-million-dollar plan that offers no guarantee of profit, while LaGrange County commissioners are considering spending millions on a project that may or may not create jobs. Good morning. Nice having you here at ABC 57 News. I'm Keitha Nelson. Today, the American people will choose the next president. For weeks, it's been an extremely tight race. And with Election Day 2012 finally here, your voice will now be heard and your vote counted. Let's get right to ABC's TJ Winnick, who joins us live from Chicago.
Good morning. The president ended his campaign yesterday here in the Midwest, and right now, it looks as if a last-minute surge could carry Barack Obama to 4 more years. While most of the east coast of the U.S. was still asleep, residents of Dixville Notch, a tiny village in northern New Hampshire, headed to the polls at midnight to cast the first votes in the U.S. presidential election. After 43 seconds of voting, President Barack Obama and Republican Mitt Romney each had 5 votes. As Americans prepare to vote, a new ABC News Washington Post poll shows President Obama pulling ahead by 3 points, but within the margin of error among likely voters. Hello, Iowa! At an emotional final rally Monday night, the president asked Iowa to help him finish what he started.
But Iowa, we're here tonight because we've got more work to do. We're not done yet on this journey. We've got more road to travel.
The president's pitch earlier in the day that he's the same idealist he ran as 4 years ago.
You've seen the scars on me to prove it. You've seen the gray hair on my head to show you what it means to fight for change.
For Mitt Romney, a frenetic push to the finish, starting in Florida Monday, then Virginia, Ohio, and New Hampshire nearing midnight.
Perhaps some of your family and friends have not yet made up their vote, who they're going to vote for. So ask them to look beyond the speeches and the ads and all the attacks, because talk is cheap. Ask them to look at the record.
The president spends Election Day here in Chicago with his family. He has no publicly scheduled events, but of course he will address his supporters here at the Lakeside Center either later tonight or perhaps early tomorrow morning, win or lose. Reporting live in Chicago, TJ Winnick, ABC News. Now back to you.
All right, thanks for that, TJ. It's time to break out those ice scrapers. We're off to a frosty start this morning. ABC 57 First Warning neighborhood meteorologist Tom Coombs has a look at today's forecast before you head to the polls.
Good morning, Keitha. Yeah, it's a chilly one out there once again as temperatures have dropped off through the overnight down into the 20s this morning, and it's another chilly start. But skies are clear as we start things out this morning. Here's a look at forecast track. We're timing out the arrival of rain for you. Notice that we're going to be clear through most of the day, but clouds start to work in as we head towards midday and this afternoon. We're going to be timing out the arrival of these rain showers, and talk temperatures a warm up on the way coming up in your ABC 57 First Warning neighborhood weather forecast. Keitha?
Aside from the presidential race, Hoosiers will also choose a new senator, congressman, and governor today. The polls are now open. Let's turn to ABC 57's Eric Stelzer for a look at how things are going this morning right here in Michiana. He joins us live on Ironwood Drive, where Democratic Senator candidate Joe Donnelly is expected to drop by soon. Hey, Eric.
We're in Clay Township right now, but of course encouraging.
Hey, Keitha. Well, I just moved outside the room where people were voting, and just a few minutes ago, this wall here was just lined with people that were going to go inside and vote. Now, I was just told that Senator candidate Joe Donnelly will be here in about 5 minutes or so to cast his vote. If you are heading out to vote today, you definitely do want to head out early. This is a big election, a presidential election, which usually means more people out in the streets and more people filling polling places just like this. Now, this election, a big one for Hoosiers. Right now, the local candidates for Senate are neck and neck in the polls. Democratic candidate Joe Donnelly is favored in the latest Howie DePaul poll over Republican Richard Murdoch at 47 to 36%, with Andrew Horning at 6%. Now, in the race for governor, Republican Mike Pence has a 47 to 40 lead over Democrat John Gregg. That also comes from a recent Howie DePaul poll. And one more race to look out for is the one for the 2nd District congressional seat between Democrat Brendan Mullen and Republican Jackie Lewirsky. Now, we'll be looking for Senator Joe Donnelly very soon. We're going to get an interview with him and have the latest information for you coming up later in our morning newscast. Reporting live in South Bend, Eric Stelter, ABC 57 News.
And on your way to the polls, there's a road restriction in Mishawaka that you may want to avoid. Starting at 7, the curb lanes on McKinley Avenue from Logan Street to Miracle Lane will be restricted for cable installation. One lane of traffic will be open in both directions on McKinley Avenue. Crews hope to wrap things up by about 5 tonight. And voters who bring guns to the polls today may not be turned away. During the primaries back in May, a St. Joseph County man was not allowed to vote because he tried to carry his licensed gun into the polling place, which was a fire station for him. It turns out there's no law that says he couldn't. We've learned election workers have been trained so they have a better idea of what's legal and what's not.
There was a call about that, and so the election board did respond. Unfortunately, we responded incorrectly. We were not aware of the law, and so we were remiss in that we were not giving them the correct advice when they called us.
Now, we do want to make it clear that state law says there are several polling places where you cannot take a gun, and they include schools, courts, and hospitals. ABC 57 News continues to work for you this morning. We've put together a list of tips before you go out to vote. The polls are open from 6 this morning until 6 tonight in Indiana and from 7 until 8 in Michigan. Make sure to bring your photo ID to the polls. You won't be allowed to vote without it, and be prepared to stand in line. Early voters experience 2-hour waits at times. And most importantly, dress warm. As you know, temps will drop into the 20s this morning. Right now, we're about 25.
We're providing transportation to anybody that needs it. And tomorrow, as of tomorrow, we will have also wheelchair transportation. We'll have a van that's capable of picking you up and taking you back home.
Make sure you know where your polling place is before you leave the house. If it changed, you should have received something in the mail. You can check your polling location right now at abc57.com. And before you head out, here's a preview of a few local races spanning all across Michiana. In Michigan, the race for Congress in District 6 is a hot one. Republican Fred Upton has held his seat since 1987. This year, he's being strongly challenged by Democrat candidate Mike O'Brien. O'Brien has been considered Upton's strongest challenger in all of his 26 years in Congress. And back in Indiana, the race for governor could be a photo finish. Republican Mitch Daniels has been Indiana's leader for the past 8 years, and now it's someone else's turn at the title. Republican candidate Mike Pence is favored by all accounts, but Democratic candidate John Gregg has picked up steam in the past 2 weeks, so it could be a close race to watch tonight. Workers at South Bend Steel Warehouse say the company is mixing politics with paychecks. They claim warehouse officials are encouraging workers to vote for Mitt Romney in a 3-page letter attached to employees' pay stubs. ABC 57's Jacqueline Kelly talked with employees who feel the political push is inappropriate.
Keith, these employees were very hesitant to speak out against this letter, which is why they asked to remain anonymous. Despite their political views, they feel that this letter was inappropriate, and they worry that if it's happening at their company, it could be happening at other places too. Many employees say they were shocked when they saw this 3-page letter encouraging all workers to vote for Republican Mitt Romney. The letter states the company has never forced political views on employees, but the owners felt it was necessary this time because they feel so strongly about the direction of the country and certain policies directly affecting the company.
They say it's not special interest, it's coming from them, but, it's a family-owned business, the stock is owned by family, so it is special interest for them.
Employees say the letter was very compelling, enough to sway undecided voters. But is it legal? The St. Joseph County Democratic Party says yes and gave me this statement. It is considered freedom of speech. Unfortunate that they would do something like that. Some may say that it is intimidation, but your ballot is a secret ballot, and that is protected also. So folks should vote their conscience as to what they feel is best for our country. I talked with supervisors here at the Steel Warehouse who said they couldn't comment on the letter, but they did direct all my questions to the company's HR department. Right now, we're just waiting to hear back. Reporting from South Bend, Jacqueline Kelly, ABC 57 News.
Stay with us throughout the day as our complete coverage of this year's election continues. We are your election headquarters today. Make sure you tune in to see if your favorite candidate has won. Our special election coverage continues tonight on ABC 57 News at 5 with Brian Dorman and Kim Chappell. Your time is 6:09. It's a unique business approach and a huge gamble for LaGrange County.
we're thinking that this is a pretty good bet, to try.
Still to come, why county officials want to put their money on a new $4 million project with no guarantee of profit. And find out where you can get a free cup of Java to kick off Election Day.
And we're timing out the arrival of the rain showers by this evening with Forecast Track in your ABC 57 First Morning Neighborhood Weather Forecast.